So we're going to call our meeting to order. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I appreciate everybody coming and spending their Wednesday evening in this great weather with me, with all of us, actually. We got a copy. There's copies of the agenda on the table if anybody needs some. And if you haven't signed in at the table, please do so. It helps Kim when she does from notes. There's a sign-in sheet in the back. First order is agenda. So everybody, if it has any changes or suggestions for tonight's meeting agenda? Hearing none.
No, I have one.
Yes, sir.
Just a little awareness about PK's fire safety program. Southern distance.
Okay. All right. So we can put that down under.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, we'll put that under. If that works. Hi, Dakota. So putting that under public comment. So with that, the tonight's agenda is approved. Any comments?
Well, it just went.
On
Just went silent.
the board, Sandy with us? Sandy, are you back?
I think so.
There you are. The treasurer's report, any comments on the treasurer's report?
Oh, it's as it was sent out, but yesterday I deposited another $95 in the account for signs.
Excellent, excellent news. So with that information, any other comments from the council on the treasurer's report?
Just catch up. 1 second.
So apologizing to the group on Zoom, we seem to have floating in and out of connectivity, so we'll do the best we can and make sure we wait until you guys catch back up with us.
So El Dorado County Fire Safe Council met this morning for its September meeting. Nothing super new, no large or significant decisions that were made this morning. Folks still committed to the mosquito fire. So a number of the agency reports, they weren't available. But I think one of the highlights of the meeting this morning provided a presentation on some lessons learned, and it was from the perspective of the Fire Safe Council. It wasn't a critique on the fire, wasn't any sort of discussion on policy, any of that. It was just one Fire Safe Council's perspective when a fire impacts your community. And it was really to kind of share thoughts for other Fire Safe Councils as to what to be thinking about. Things like evacuation routes and things that they had in their mind that would work, that didn't. And just the idea that most of the Safe Council, as we know, lost their homes. And so how do you reorganize? So he really had a We'll post it to the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council website, and it'll be available for folks to see, so we'll make sure we get that out.
Once, if I can
Go ahead.
interrupt, once that happens, what I do is activation at one of our future, so that folks here can see it. It's a pretty interesting presentation. Of course, it's very powerful because he lived it. And so it's emotional for him and his community. The interesting part out of it was, we say 20. This is as it was. So from my perspective, we want to be careful on kind of the work and messaging that we're giving out to folks until such time as we do get a little better precipitation and a little better winterization of the fuel loading that's out there. So it's hard to encourage people to go out and do a lot of cleanup of their property at this point. Something to really push more in the springtime. So there is a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with our Title III funding.
When you leave, that'd be awesome. I'll put you on our email list for the newsletter. The newsletter now, there was a lot of good information in it. We continue to work on making it a water newsletter, for Shyla and our other South County fire department partners to make it more of a South County newsletter instead of just a thing. Much of the information is the same amongst all of the fire departments. Makes sense that we pool our section and share our resources and get more quality content instead of everybody just repeating the same articles over and over. Our newsletter out. Jane did, as always, a wonderful job in putting together. So if you don't have it, let me know. I'll put you on the list and we can send it out to you. Let me circle back. Shyla, anything from Omo Ranch tonight? Can you hear me, Shyla? Can you hear? Mike? Mike, can you hear me, Mike? Oh, I don't want because it's mute.
I'm on your.
No.
I unmuted, sorry, I was muted.
Can you actually hear me now? Okay, this is the first time. Okay. So the water is now in the tanks over at Omo Ranch. We're looking at doing a Greenway stay again in the spring, and they're determining that, I believe, at the next meeting. That newsletter was so wonderful, and we want to thank you so much for including all of South County. I went to the district, the Pioneer District meeting, and acknowledged, because West Slope was there and PVFA, and they were very proud of the fact that you included them, and it was great. So we truly thank you for that. As far as the wine signage, we've met twice, and we're moving along. We met last night. I had asked Mount Auckham if it was possible to utilize their waiver in order to, because Omo Ranch does not meet at Pioneer. And is that something that could happen through Mount Auckham? Because we have 2 more meetings scheduled. And if not, I guess they get a waiver if you're normally doing their meetings there. Otherwise, they charge us. So that was something that I wanted to bring up tonight. If not,
Thank you.
we'll have to do something else, but that was a request. So if you could consider that and let.
Shyla, fault. I dropped the ball on that one. I forgot to ask them, so I'm writing myself a note now to email Brian tomorrow and ask them about that. Do you know when? Do you have a date?
Yes, we do.
October 18th. Okay. Shared with me, I've got it.
Okay, October 18th, and the next one is November 15th. And they actually gave us a key, so that was wonderful. I'm returning that key tomorrow. That's, so on the 18th, could Kim be responsible for getting the key from Mount Auburn, or would you rather me go up to Placerville and pick one up?
Nope, we can have Kim do it.
Okay, that would be wonderful. So that's great. I did not go to the Grizzly Fire Safe Council meeting because it was at Leone Meadows and it was just filled with smoke, and I have a lung problem, so I stayed indoors. So aside from, but I did go to the Sand Ridge meeting in the end of August or beginning, end of August. And so they had their second, and that was, they're moving along. But they meet outdoors, and so it's getting darker. By the time they finish their meeting, everyone's kind of looking for hot chocolate or coffee or something to warm up. But it is really an honor to be able to go to these different meetings and see how everyone else is working. I do want to, I see the huge benefit of working with the councils. This wine signage isn't just about money. It's about connecting up with the other councils and seeing how we can help each other. And there's a lot of bonding happening. And it's a wonderful opportunity. So aside from that, there's not much in Oma Ranch except for they made their calendar. And so they're, we had a chair change, and we're trying to support each other. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Shyla. Any questions for Shyla?
I hear. Yeah, is there any reason why you say sign ads instead of signs?
Signage is another term for labeling.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was like a language barrier or something like that.
No.
I love you, okay?
The stutter.
Signage is marketing words for signs.
Vice Chair report. Mike, can you?
I'm hearing every third word.
Anything on the Vice Chair's report?
No, other than supporting the Outingdale event and giving some market data to the OMO team for their sign edge. I have reached out to Higher Ground about a green waste day. I think we were saying early November. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I haven't heard back from them yet, but I'll keep pressing. Other than that, were you able to get into your email?
Huh?
You were having a problem with your email account. Were you able to get in?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I haven't gone and tried again. I didn't know that it was fixed, so I will go back and try it tomorrow.
Okay. Other than that, the vice chair doesn't have any other updates.
Perfect. So we went through newsletter and nothing yet to share on the South County grant.
Are you back to me?
Mike,
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
number 9, unfinished business.
There was a meeting last week that I did not find out was happening, but I think the team met and Mark Egbert's assistant was there. He was off on fire zone up by the Tahoe. It was a good meeting. We focused mostly on communication these days. Some of the agreements are still being signed. Lester forwarded a right of entry that the Georgetown Fire Safety Council is using that Mark objected to. So there's a few more iterations going on there. And then we are meeting the 29th, which I believe is later next week at the Diamond Springs fire station. That's 29th on the Thursday.
Perfect. And one of the things that I know that they are working on is consistent management of all the fire accounts that are for grant. So until the county and the the parent fire safe council are ready with kind of a broad announcement, we're kind of holding off before we really engage the members of our community on the work that we're doing, so that we're all talking the same language, we're all saying the same words, and everybody is in the message. So,
The one
To
thing
come.
I would mention that's a very important point. It happened in a separate meeting than the grant meeting. It was with DOT, Cal OES, Cal Fire, RCD, and Lester, and maybe somebody from El Dorado Fire Safety Council. There's a lot of overlap between what DOT is doing, what Georgetown and other people have going on. So everybody's coming to the table with essentially their maps of what locations their grant money or their funding is going to clear. And the general feeling is that since CAL FIRE and OES and DOT are dealing with federal contracts that are more difficult to make change orders in, we may adjust some of the roads and or shaded fuel breaks that we're investing in, because they may already be covered by other money. That doesn't mean the money goes away. We just maybe do another project that was on the Outcome Fair Play Fire Safety list or somebody else's list that didn't get included in the first round. So there's enough of it right now to kind of clean that up, and that's probably going to consume the next 1 or 2 meetings. And then, like you, we'll be ready to kind of go forward and announce and begin the execution phase.
Just, it's not that we would do another project on our list. We would go back to the grant and see if there's an expansion of the grant that we can do. Anything we do with that money has to be approved by CAL FIRE and has to be part.
Well, let me
In
just
the
make it
area of
really,
the
really
grant.
simple. I led the meeting, and at the end of the day, it's simpler than that. Is what was determined is there were some overlap in the road right-of-way clearance proposals between the Department of Transportation's Council. So we've been putting it in the room to put everything on the map so we can see overlap is. And as we talked about, it's easier to adjust the CAL FIRE scope of work within the grant than how to deal with the FEMA hazard mitigation grants. The DOT is applying their money to. So, but it's not changing where fuel breaks or any of that are going. It's literally just looking at where the roadside fuels treatment is happening, and if there's probably more importantly, and Mike hit it in the beginning there, it's just what's going on in South. We're looking at the entire county. There's almost $5 million in a forest health grant going on the Georgetown Divide. There's $7 million inside work going on the Divide and in Lotus. So a lot of effort going out all at the same time. So we're looking at one right of entry agreement. Actually back county council, so that it so one size fits for all the fire safe councils. So we're all operating off the same sheet of music, and even discussion about going away from the name right of entry and to something more like a cooperative agreement or something that Two different processes, the distinction between the two, so reluctant sometimes to want to, engage. Another work. Still off.
They're coming back now, but it's not. I mean, I've got them over here working on it.
While we're waiting, is there any proposed project at this time for using the grant funding that will be handed to the fire station?
So,
Good.
so we will be working through, the RCD is going to be a manager. And so the work that is being done, he will be reaching out for contractors and others to come and do the
And
work.
this is Mark, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So this is different than the top three?
Yes,
Okay, sorry.
Yep.
Just trying to catch up.
which we want to, we'll back, we talk about the title three.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm gonna get them back. So, sir, do you wanna, did you have anything else from your meeting?
Well, that was a big piece of it. I think the Office of Health Care and Resilience is about to hire a deputy chief administrative officer to manage that program. They're really spearheading what kicked off this afternoon, and I haven't had a chance to get feedback from. But one of the first of several efforts that the advisory committee is taking on to the office, a new look at the defensible space ordinance for the county. So they've tasked, they've got a working group put together that started today with a series of goals to look at objectives over the course of the next several months. So that group will be making some recommendations back to the Board of Supervisors on how to implement the defensible space ordinance, the county's ordinance going forward, and what that might look like. Will it require any statutory changes that the board needs to make, or are they just internal policy discussions on how to implement it, how to enforce that sort of thing? So it's that's well in process. But that same group will also be broadening out and looking at defensible space, the defensible space program in the county collectively as a whole. And this means how CAL FIRE and the fire districts and the fire safe councils and the county work together on really the new version of defensible space as to how the state's going. And just as of yesterday, there's new tools being prepared for doing home evaluations that actually are very comprehensive, from doing home hardening and construction evaluation for the construction materials of the home, as well as the defensible space. It's going to be tried on several pilot types of California, but where there's going to be a lot of this coming down to the Fire Safe Council and the fire district level locally. So this group's going to be working on how can we move forward and coordinate our evaluations that we're doing in defensible space with the programs that CAL FIRE and the fire districts in the county are implementing for actual inspections. There will be a new training program that will come out this spring. We're coordinating, putting this together. So it's really going to be a whole new look at the training we provided, that CAL FIRE provided the last several springs. This is going to be a whole new look at that. There's a standardized fire districts, fire service across California is going to use. And then they're working on a sort of a companion to that that will be available to do evaluations. And so it's all a work in progress, but we're sitting at the table helping sort of drive that. So that's something, bottom line is a lot of the feedback that came back from a lot of folks in this room and in the other councils, the training was really not adequate for what there's a breadth of information that needs to go to everybody out there that's available. We want to have a much better course. And now there's actually curriculum coming down that we can start with. So that group's going to be working to help bring that down to us in the county. So again, just a lot of work going on in that group. Off a project to write a wildfire strategy for the county that will incorporate the community wildfire protection plan, as well as CAL FIRE's fire plan, local hazard mitigation plan, general plan safety element, all of these things that have touched fire over the years, but haven't really engaged in it to the level that it needs to be. That's kind of changing. There's a whole new initiative to bring all that together. So we're all talking about the same set of priorities and sheet of music. So a lot going to be happening over the next 12 months. Anyway, that's probably it was all, yeah, the bulk of it.
Thank you, Ken. To the folks online, my apologies. I unfortunately have no control over connectivity issues, but I know you guys have been fading in and out. Hopefully you can stick with us a little bit longer and tough it out. And I'll try and hold off on some of we've got a little bit beefier discussion coming up and make sure that you're on while we have that discussion. So the next item is 9B, Title III funding, and selecting a date for the Green Waste Day that we have talked about holding this fall. I did reach out, as we discussed at the last meeting, I reached out to Waste Connections, and they have a date of November 5th available, which is coming up really fast if you think about all the steps that we need to do to hold a Green Waste Day. So
Can I say something on that real quick?
maybe, yes.
Yeah, I really liked the one that we held down there towards Mount Alcom at Roosters, and I liked the timing too, because I think it was right after we were able to burn. So it allowed everybody to gather that last bit of yard waste that they had and have a safe place to, drop it off. So I think, like between November and May, we usually have that. That's our time that we can burn on our properties.
You're like, well, the funds won't be available in May. We have to have it
We have to-
probably by March.
We have to spend it all by March.
So it's November or nothing.
Yeah, and I think my feeling on this, not everybody likes to burn, and there probably is, burning may not be open on November 5th anyway. So my feeling is that with personally, I thought it was a success for doing the first time and having almost 60 participants and great volunteers. But we have everything really to put it together. We just have to-
I think we could do it.
I think we can pull it together. My recommendation.
Gang at the end of the table, thoughts?
No problem here.
I mean, timing wise, you think that November 5th is a workable?
Where we gonna hold it?
So that was the second discussion was, we held the one in the Mount Auburn side. And so I was hoping when I call Brian to talk about Shiloh's use of the facility, maybe using this location as the location, so, and targeting our flyer to this side of our fire council. The last time we sent flyer to more of the Mount Auburn side, and so this time I want to send the flyer to folks at this end, Outingdale and Fairplay.
Does
And
the county have any opposition to that? This is part.
I have to ask, that's the piece. I've got to talk to Brian and see if we can use it and then go through the parent fire safe council and get our insurance. So there's work to do, but as Ken said, we've drafted the flyer, we've got the flyer, we can use the same flyer and change the dates and have it reprinted, and that was about $700 for the printing. And then the
I kind of think more centralized location right here too, because you're gonna get a lot more Berry Creeks than you would have over on that side.
Yeah.
So you might even get a lot more participation here too.
yeah, and so we may want to increase, we filled 2 dumpsters the last.
Yeah, you could go a little bit more, but yeah.
They came in overweight. We paid an
Oh, they
overweight.
did?
We paid an overweight charge because
Oh, wow.
Nicona's husband, man.
No,
really?
Go.
She chipped that stuff. And Nicole jumping up and down. And you did a fabulous job. And I have no problems.
Just like a week earlier, because we won't be.
Well, and so we are trying to spread around to all of our vendors. And November 5th is the only date that the Waste Management has available to
Won't
us.
be available.
She going on vacation.
No, no. My husband actually got the prestigious rodeo in Utah.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, good for
It's
him.
the Wilderness Circuit Finals rodeo.
Well, you've got guys that will work for you. They did a good job while you guys weren't looking.
Well, if Reggie is back from the mosquito fire, I'm sure he would love to.
Well, I guess it's like going back to, wasn't Mike reaching?
Mike Panett was reaching out to High Ground, I think,
That's correct.
to see if they might be. So it would be to see if they are available and if they're willing to donate or help cost share with this, that'd be awesome.
Is it just one day, Janet, or the 5th and the 6th?
The 5th, the Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, so it is the 6th.
Yeah, we did 2 days. The
No,
first,
just one day over there.
we just one day?
We left it 2 days.
Oh, that's it. So yeah, one day. One day. Correct, one day.
Going crazy.
I know. I'm stressing out.
So 1 day or 2 days?
Yes, ma'am.
One day, Mike, November 5th, Saturday.
Thank you.
So Kim, very organized here, is interested from council. Who would be available to help volunteer that day?
I just gotta check my calendar, but
I think Chris said he was gonna be there too.
Mike,
Oh, Chris Bowden said.
oh, Chris will be there.
Um,
Very easy
so-
man.
So Mike, would you be able to put up your,
I will give my best shot, yes.
okay,
We understand.
Yep.
Greg?
I think so. I just need to check my calendar and then I
just
can
put that
email
up.
back real
It's
quick.
not a set in stone thing. I just want to make sure we have people go to work.
I mean,
Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was fun.
and if we split it up like we
We're
did
good.
before, where we
We're
have
good.
mornings and
We've
afternoons.
got, just between us, we've got 8 men.
Perfect. So given that, if next step is I'll see if the location is good. Mike Panett's going to see if we have a vendor who is willing to participate. We'll miss you. But it sounds like that's way more important than.
And way more
people's time.
fun.
Yeah, I think my father-in-law can do it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and the chipping, you just get so much more and you're in the
Yeah.
greenway.
Yeah.
I mean, what's,
And you have to be experienced too to run that stuff through.
Yes. Yeah.
volunteering $6,000 worth of your time, you know?
No, my father actually really enjoyed the Greenway Day. Like,
He was very enjoyable. His company was, I like company.
yeah,
That's cool.
He was a very serious worker out there.
yeah, he's a very serious worker, but
Yeah.
very sociable.
Well, that's kind of what we like.
Yeah.
We like. Sounds like we'll be doing that. I will call Brian, Mike will call the vendor. Mike, you and I'll get back together and see if we have a connection on date and make sure that we can move forward. If there's a difficulty with that, I will send out an email to the council to let you know what that is. So moving on, Mary, can you hear me? Mary Clem?
Yes, I can actually. Nope, not
So
well.
perfect. Would you like to share your fire prevention
Sure.
activity information?
Yeah, a couple things are going on. I made up a flyer, which I've given to Janet to get printed. We're going to, it's been approved by the Pioneer School District, and they're going to send it home with the students. And basically, it talks about how people can help to prevent fires by getting an evaluation from our Fire Safe Council or getting the address signs. So it goes to those 2 points. So it's an informative note to let them know about these 2 things that we're doing. The other thing that's happening is I'm working with Amanda Eskildson, who's who teaches at the middle school, and she's developed a series of lessons focused on fire prevention, and she plans to have her middle schoolers teaching the younger grades. So they'll be doing that during Fire Prevention Week, and they have an outreach person at the school who will be doing publicity on that. So the publicity is covered, and so that's all good. So I think that's what we've got going at this time.
And then you have a request from the school.
A request.
The prizes. You
Oh,
talked about that they
yes.
were interested in.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Janet. I forgot about that. Yes, the students would like to give some prizes to the middle schoolers would like to give some prizes to the elementary schoolers that they're working with. And so Amanda asked if we would be willing to donate, what did I say, $100? I believe that's what I said, Janet. Yeah.
Yes.
For prizes that they could use. So I put that before the council to see if that would be something you would be willing to donate to the school.
So the motion before the council today is we've already talked about providing a printed material to the school. There's 300 copies that would need to be provided between the 2 schools. So the cost of the copying of this flyer, which would go home with every student, taking this information home and getting it to their parents for information on address signs and defense evaluations. So that's the first part. The second part is a $100 donation to the school for prizes for the elementary school kids, which are listed as fire safety children's book, fire safety stickers, fire safety activities. So the middle schoolers are teaching the elementary school kids, are kind of leading the training of the elementary school kids. And so they're looking for some cooperation from us. So I open that up to the council for comment.
That sounds great. How much is the first part?
I'd have to go out and get the printing costs.
Okay, is it like a lot though, or?
I don't think so.
A
It's
few
not
$100 or
special
something?
paper. It's on this. We could probably self-print it if we wanted to, but I think it'd be quicker to have it printed.
Do we need to motion them now up to, or you want just to get over?
We
for the
could,
fencing?
we could.
And that way you can get it done.
Just a comment on this, we can't donate Title III money to, so what needs to be really clear is educational material when we're purchasing it. So let's just make that clear when.
So maybe we make the purchase?
Yeah, or if we're reimbursing somebody else for the purchase, it needs to say educational materials, not a donation. We're not donating.
Okay. So the other piece of it is we have our annual Firewise funds that we have $200 that comes to us for outreach and education.
Yeah, that's, I was thinking that if
Yeah.
we're gonna use that funding. That's what we have to be
And
doing.
that was the discussion that I was thinking is we could use that to do the primary purchase, and then the council would pay for anything that goes over the $200.
Sounds to me like you have children teaching children, which is, sounds good to me. I'm okay with that.
Can I get the name of that program again? $200 for
Firewise.
Yeah,
So Sandy, you good? Mike, you good? Mike, thumbs up from Mike. Mary, sounds like we have a plan. We just need to make sure how we word it back to the school and whether we make the purchase or we reimburse them for the purchase of the material. So you and I'll connect up later.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sandy has a question.
Mary, what week next month are they planning on doing this?
It's Fire Prevention Week, which if my memory
Ninth.
serves me correct, is the 9th through the 15th.
Okay.
I hope that's correct.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Ah,
All right.
I
Sounds like
haven't
we have a
lost my
plan,
memory.
Mary. You and I will
Haven't
be
lost
back
my memory.
in contact on the second part of that, and I will work on getting the flyers printed.
Okay. Great.
And Nakona will.
And thank you.
All right. So those are the two big business items
Janet?
that we had tonight. Thank you to the council. Yes, ma'am.
Can
Yes, ma'am.
can I go ahead and let Amanda know that we will, that we're working on, that we will donate the,
Not donate.
not donate, that we will arrange for the prizes.
Yes, yes. And let's talk about let's talk after about how we will accomplish that. I'll be in
Right,
touch with you this week.
right, that's good, but I just want to let her know.
Perfect. All right, so that is the end of our unfinished business. Moving on to new business. I have any from the council. Okay, Mary.
Just one thing,
Yes, sir.
Mike gave a talk, at our meeting, did a very good job. I was just wondering, there used to be a road leading out of Avondale, the other direction, which would be, west. I wonder if that could be part of the grant, or is it too late to do it?
It's too late to enter the grant. The grant is already approved.
Okay.
So.
I mean, I like that, yeah, having another exit, but I don't know the.
Focused on the major.
Yeah.
But future.
Future. Something that we should keep in mind. Mike, did you hear that?
No, I did not.
So the discussion was that there is a secondary road that could be cleaned up out of Outingdale that should be considered for a future grant proposal.
Okay,
It might be a secondary evacuation route.
well, if somebody would like to forward me the description of that, I'd be happy to take it into consideration.
Mike, would you send me that? Thank you. Public comment. Like, just like to say floor. If you could say your name and where you're from.
Yeah, I'm Ray Pepperell and between Allendale, part-time. I'm very new at this, and I want to thank all the people that put time into this. Make things better. Thank you. My issue is specifically utility fires, and I discovered a couple of months ago, I've been doing research since, that a lot of wires in California that PG are bare wire with no insulation. The high voltage wires, 750 volts and up. And it seems like people I contacted at the Outingdale leaders and council was like, oh, okay. This is an issue. I sent you a report that was prepared, 4 pages. I didn't go through all of it, but Southern California Edison has, since the big fires of 1780, prioritized replacing their bare wire with insulated wire. And they hope to have 105,000 miles by the prioritized it. So they did start, I think, this year, and they've done 180 miles. Southern California Edison has already done over 3,500 miles. They've also kind of stopped doing the vegetation management. It's under routine. They do like 2 trees a mile. Well, currently PG&E in the last couple of years is doing like 190 trees a mile. But basically, wires, they're bare wires, so it's not just trees that can ignite them, like Mylar balloons, animals, a car crashing into the pole. And what Southern California started a couple of years ago in that report, basically, they're saying that they can reduce utility ignition fires 90%. And that the statistics with their vegetation management is 35%. And also there's issues with their with vegetation management is, like I say, if the wires were insulated, nothing would happen. And one example is that there's a wildfire that's supposed to but again, I think it's big fire. It's basically impossible for them to find every weak tree. And Dixie Fire was actually an area that was inspected, but inspected very well, and a tree fell on the bare wire. And that started the Dixie Fire. And that was uninspected. And the thing is if that wire was insulated, the tree would just be leaning on it. You're the fire council and my neighbors, like, I did research trying to make people aware of this issue. And I really don't understand what's going on with the PC. Something off in my viewpoint, because Southern California Edison is doing this at a rapid rate. They're putting all their money towards that. Very, even worse, it's actually cheaper than PG&E's vegetation management. And so much more effective. I mean, one of the problems with the vegetation management at PG&E is one, they leave fuel on ground. I've seen it. They say, oh, well, they'll pick it up and sign a form. That is not happening. There's more dead fuel. The thing called the wind tunnel effect, which I guess apparently happened in the campfire. And with the heat, embers and stuff would go, it would be a wind tunnel, the embers would down and light things on fire. And there's actually cases in the campfire where houses were burned and the forest around it were okay. So the jumps fire faster. So it's like, what are some of the other issues? I mean, this is like, this is bigger. However, my thought is one for every fire council in the area, in California, to really understand this bare wire problem, and then bring pressure. If the fire councils go to our representatives and to the PC, and say, hey, wait a minute, this is costing lives. PG&E's program, in my opinion, is plan. There's another. Flammable plants coming. Like happened, Lady St. Andrews, they PG&E cleared out a whole bunch of trees and all these Scotch brooms came in. So anyway, doing research on I would like everybody in the fire council to see it, and also everybody in the community to see it. I put photos which I sent to you, even, and I asked at that time to at least inform all the community that these are bare wires, and be careful. Be careful. I'd like to see that email go out, or in a they're hard to see, but I got a good camera photo of it, and apparently it's all over California. And PG&E is like, well, it's the tree's fault. In reality, it's their old equipment's fault. Trees are only about 25% of utility fires. The rest of it is just crappy equipment, old equipment that that the other companies have decided, let's do this. And at this day and age with wildfires, I really am into the government, PUC, and the government, and Gavin Newsom is letting PG&E do this.
So have you contacted PUC?
I'm going to. I need to educate myself more. I mean, I'm getting involved, but yes, I will. And I'm willing to go on 7 on your side. Whatever it is around here, and like. PG&E is, I really, the problem is I just don't understand what this I'll wind this up, it's gone on, they have TV commercials about how they're gonna do underground. In my opinion, this is like a weapon of mass destruction. It's like, you know, for years it was the trees' fault starting the fires. And now we're gonna put everything under the wire, underground to save them from the trees. However, Southern California Edison, in that report I sent you, you know, found out that changing the wires. And the other thing, it can be done in a couple of years. Undergrounding is gonna take decades. Gonna take decades.
But changing all of it is going to take more than a couple of years because there's thousands. of
Southern
lines.
California did 5,000 in years. And if you do it in a fire district, especially like, you know, Outingdale, which is little community houses with high voltage.
However, PG&E has a much greater area than Southern California or SBG. It's just a huge. area.
But it costs
I don't
us-
disagree with you that there may be another way to do it, but.
Well, but according to it cost about the same as cutting trees down, but it has a better return. It's 90% versus 35%.
So trees down, that's where that's how you filter your greenhouse gases too. Cut all your trees down, that heats that's what. Increases the heating of the.
I didn't want to get into
So-
the environmental problem with that. Yeah. And also like rooting the ground, keeping erosion down, all that stuff. Yeah, there's all sorts of,
Oh, yeah.
it's not a good plan and it's, PG&E could be doing. It doesn't matter, like San Diego's doing it and they're small, you know, so.
So, part of my property, I've got 4 bunches of all together. You know, you would be surprised how many trees they cut down where all those 4 wires come to one pole.
And
They cut down a whole acre of
it's
trees.
still bare wire.
Just because of where all those 4 wires came together on one pole.
And it's still bare wire.
Yeah. it's still bare
Somebody can
wire,
run
yeah.
into that pole and
But I got a desert on one corner now where I used to be the most covered area on my property.
yeah, that's the other thing. Now your privacy goes a little bit, the sound goes, and you get to see the big cars across.
So I appreciate the information that you provided. As a fire safe council, we can take that information and learn from it. We can't control how PG&E does it. I think your direction on refocusing them or finding out from them.
But I'm asking that, I mean, after you guys digest it, it'd be good if the fire councils also direct.
Well, we
Fire safety councils don't take advocacy.
Yeah.
We don't lobby on legislation. We don't take this.
I think it'd be totally appropriate for the fire council to send a formal request that you would like insulated wire in your area. That's not advocacy, that's a fair request.
We have a direct contact with that work with every day in this county. And so we direct any of our communications through that. We're not going to send letters from to do something.
No.
No.
They can't.
We can't.
And Rebecca came down here and spoke to us a few times, a few years ago. We did talk about a lot of options, and I do remember insulated wires. I remember undergrounding. I was,
Well, I think
saying underground.
I think they're considering all of those things, but we can't send them a letter.
I think them sharing information is great. If PG&E has time to come and chat with us and share it, we can ask questions. Funding, support, coordinating our projects, information on, we share information. We don't have to-
But they share that they had bare wire.
But
They didn't share,
At the end of the day, we build relationships. So as a council member sitting here today, I thank you for the information, but I really don't want to discuss about it. We appreciate your information, but we're not. I'm not going to support going any further with this. I've been absolutely will invite PG&E to come share this information, we can ask them those
Well,
questions.
then I need to understand what your relationship with PG&E is. If you can't ask them for anything, what?
We can ask them, but we're going to direct them to do so.
We're not gonna send letters saying you need to change all your wires. That's not what we do.
Couldn't we educate the public?
I don't know,
I would like to educate the public. Yeah, I would like to educate the public. How about educating the
If
public?
we have all the facts, I appreciate the information you have, but I'd also like to hear PG&E and others, where there needs to be, what's the source of the information?
Well, then I got a 4-page thing that's very long with footnotes. So you would agree that everybody in the fire council needs to get a copy and read that and then decide whether it's factual.
And then folks can do what they want with it.
That's the key here, so.
But what about education?
Hey, can I ask, what part of the agenda is this discussion of?
This is a public comment.
Public comment.
Okay, is there gonna be an end to this anytime soon, or are we just gonna continue to go down a rat hole?
Hold on.
If you want us to share information, let them share the information. It can be part of another discussion. It just seems we're going.
Mike, let John talk and then we'll wrap this up.
I just want to support what Ken and others are saying. For the council, as private citizens, all of us can do exactly what you're saying. We can get that information and act and contact PUC. PG&E has forums, they invite comments. We can do all of that. But legally, for a nonprofit organization like a fire safe council, we cannot advocate a position.
Okay, I understand.
We can't do that. And so that's really what Ken's saying. We
Just
can't get into that.
understand your relationship is with PD.
Informational
Information.
and supportive partners. We apply for grants.
Isn't that advocacy?
To do work. But it's work for us. I mean, if they're not going to work for us, but they provide us money to do
They
work.
provide you money.
Just a situation with nonprofits that
They provide
but do it.
The county.
Can't lobby.
Can't from them for the space.
Right.
So yes. Yeah.
And I would like to get Rebecca back, or somebody.
Rebecca's not there anymore.
Well, how could I get this, when I get these documents organized in a simple form, how could I get them distributed to the public?
I think necessarily should be the ones doing it as the person, because we're a nonprofit.
Oh, yeah, well,
So,
oh, that's a good
on
idea.
poster boards by the post offices, you can put documents up there.
BG town hall meeting, they have those. I bet the newspapers. would-
Do you know the difference between the wires? You know what it looks like?
Yeah, photos on my phone.
Okay, because I think my wires are insulated. At my place.
Well, you-
I think they're insulated.
Well, there's the high voltage and the you
Got
can't.
as far down as fun as we can, so. I want to make everybody aware that at our next meeting, we will do quarterly sign information and quarterly use space count information will be on the next agenda for October. Our next council meeting will be October 19th here. And with that, I'm going to call the meeting to adjourn. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate everybody.
I don't see how they could prosecute me. How do you prosecute somebody if they didn't raise
Thank you all.
Lower.
It comes off down to the transport.
Yeah, these are high voltage.